Welcome back, everyone. We just got the chance to watch the map of Ascent where Mesos Millionaire took the win 13-9. I'm still Dry, joined by Ender and Athena. And Athena, we just got the chance to watch this back and forth on the second half, but it was complete domination, that 8-4 first half that we got the chance to see on the side of Mesos Millionaire. And that comeback, I mean, Solstice tried, but it was not enough.
Yeah, for sure. The comeback. Don't call it a comeback because Mesos, they just started out so slow and methodical. They were not scared to take their time and really understand and get all the information they could. They were constantly reclearing names, constantly getting info, and especially when they switched over to that defensive side, they used a lot of the information to their advantage. They knew that they couldn't hold the sites, you know. At the beginning of the comeback for Solstice, they were just executing on executes. And for a second, Mesos realized, hey, we can't actually hold these sites when they do execute, and they resulted to fast flooding and fast retaking. And so that's why I really like the Astra pick as well, because it does enable a lot of those retakes to go really well. And they actually enabled for Manda to play alone on that ace site a lot of the time too, because of that Astra util allowing so much slow and to stop the other team from just flooding in so fast. It was really well played by Mesos.
For sure. You can see especially like all of those heaven swings, how effective they were on the retakes on the defensive side. But this game ends 13-9. And honestly, without the pistols, it's a complete blowout, right? Solstice won both pistols, both round twos. They also had two thrifty wins in the first half. They didn't win a single rifle v rifle round in the first half. So they're going to need to bounce back in a big way later in this series because for my money, Mesos dominated Ascent.
Which is honestly, for Solstice, very uncharacteristic what we got to see, where they really couldn't find their footing on that first half, where it really mattered the most on that defensive side. They were playing back, and as Athena was saying, they were trying to play for those retakes and those two eco rounds that they got, but it was just not something that they could attain, not the result that they expected. So now they're going to have to bounce back on that second map, Ender.
Yeah, also shout out Marina. Substitute on the day is just the match MVP. Looking clean out there on the Sova round after round. So the fact that they can just plug and play with her into the roster and win in a series where you win this, you're making it top 4 in main event, is a fantastic sign for Mesos.
Yeah, for sure. Having a sub is not easy. Like being able to put a person in that spot to kind of fulfill whatever it is that you need, as well as kind of go crazy on the fragging potential, that is wild. And Marina as well on that Sova, util wise, the ults were insane. They utilized the ults for retakes, for pulse plants. They flooded out positions. Overall, as a sub, Marina outplayed a lot today.
And one of the rounds that really shows what went down in that first half, and there's that round 9. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, let's do it over here. Hold on, I got to get the technology all under control. You ready for this? You ready for this? We have it. Boom! We are in the Matrix now. Yeah, okay, so we're looking at this round, and you know how I said Solstice won 2 of those ecos? We're looking at one right here. They have 3 rifles, so it's not a true eco for them in the sense, and they also have 1 ult to work with here in the KO. But the first thing I want to focus on is how Mesos were playing their attacking half, because right now they're set up triangle defense, anti-dive, you know, in case the jet comes flying down into tiles, which is a pretty common thing to do in an anti-eco, but this was just Mesos' default utility they were showing on the attack. They would put a star here on Cat to deny an op line. They'd end up putting a turret right here. I'll play out the clip so you can see where that turret ends up going. But almost every round, it's this 3-2 split. And then they would slowly work into both mains, right? So at the start of the round, they've got this turret now looking into mid to make sure, hey, there's no one creeping out. And once they know that, that's when they start testing into either A or B main. And because they're unlinking their initiators, the Sova and the KO, they can sort of fake some utility to try and exec on the other side. The problem I think that comes for them is that this is now the 6th round they've done it in the half out of 9 rounds total into the game. They also make a pretty big error here. I'm going to go back 5 seconds. Look over towards this B site. Sova Dart lands, and no one is actually turned to break it, right? Astra is actually looking at main, and these 2 players aren't turned to break that dart. That's usually something that you're going to be seeing a KO player doing, right? Jet might have face and wall to play anti-flash. KO would be breaking that dart, but that ends up tagging all these players and signaling the rotate now for this KO to come over into the B site. Now, Solstice, or rather rather Mesos aren't so, you know, sad about this because they're still going to set up a fake over towards the A site. But importantly, it comes after they throw a dart into B main. And like I've been saying, in so many of these rounds, you see that dart that just landed right there? In so many of these rounds, they would throw some kind of utility, whether it's a Sova drone into A main or that KO dart into B, and then they would run onto the opposite side of the map. So the common move from here now for Mesos would be to rotate off of that site. And as they leave Sova here to now drone into A to sell this double fake, Killjoy is now coming back over into A. And it's so close to Solstice actually biting on this and rotating off. And the difference is here, one way comes down, now there's going to be a drone going into main. And look at this. The players are pulled, but just for a second. And the critical thing here for Solstice is that Scary Shark is playing in A main. If Scary Shark is playing back on site or they're doing something passive, they won't have info and they're going to assume there are players coming in behind that drone. They'll abandon the site and it's going to be a free hit for Mesos. But because they have that forward line, even though they over-rotate for a second, they're immediately getting back in here. And when the hit comes in, they've got a great crossfire, right? Ella gets back over to stairs, not going to get stuck by that smoke. They've got that cringe angle over on logs that Sabubu is playing. No one clears it on the entry, which is a mistake of Mesos, and they get absolutely destroyed in that choke. So all this to say, Mesos had a fantastic half, but got a little bit readable towards the end. And that's what I'm looking at for Solstice if they're going to come back in this series, is trying to identify those consistent points in the default and punish Mesos for it.
And that is going to be a big deal for sure, especially because you have a Solstice where we've seen some of the players talk about the fact that not for every match, not for every single match they've had the time, or they've decided to prepare and do counter against the other team. So that is going to be the key for this match. You had a little bit of time to prepare. How is it going to work out? Especially because if you're Solstice, Athena, you know that this map of Ascent hasn't so far gone your way in the main event, but this map of Sunset on the other side, it should be good for them.
For sure. I mean, first of all, this is their map pick. They're going to be feeling a lot more confident, I think, going into it. And as well, we have that Clove that we so love coming in. And actually, from both sides.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't actually think that was going to happen. But, I mean, we've seen Solstice play this Sunset. They are so phenomenal on it. They've played it so well before in the past. Elaborate doing a great job at anchoring down sites. But again, just to touch up on Ender's point, I completely agree. Solstice are going to have to go above and beyond to understand how Mesos is playing, because they are so methodical and slow in their playstyle that it probably is readable at a certain point.
Yeah, honestly, the tough thing for Solstice with this comp, they're playing double smokes, Omen and Clove, so their info gathering is a little bit limited. They've got Gecko, so quick cycles on the Dizzy can give you control, especially over A main, but the way they get info is by walking forward and fighting you with the Clove, with the Omen, with the Raze, so it's going to be a very, I don't know, fight-heavy game rather than banking off the util.
Yeah, it's basically just double duelist at this point. Like...
Well, we're going to see if it's going to be Mesos Millionaires the one who take away this map, or it's going to be a Solstice making a comeback with all the Clove and all those cool ideas that we've seen so far. Casters, take it away.
Thanks so much. Yeah, match point for Mesos Millionaires going into Sunset. The sun is setting. But we, of course, have another match, so technically not. But
in real life, it is, I guess.
Depending on where you are in the world, the sun is going down, indeed.
If anything, though, definitely to what the desk was alluding to, that this is potentially going to be a series or a map that's going to be very brawly because we have a Clove on each side. But the one thing I want to point out as well is for Mesos Millionaires, usually when they're holding this composition, they usually have a KO playing with this Gecko. While this time it's Marina continuing with the silver roll. I don't have time to talk about it. They're just hitting the B site. Let's go with the action.
Oh, this is much faster than Mesos offense on Ascent. With towards B, the confidence they have. Yeah, they made quite a splash. They made a lot of noise at B. And the spike is all the way at A. And of course, when you hear the spike down and it's nowhere nearby, you gotta assume it's on the other side. Great win from Marina. Make it 2 to even up those numbers. Give Mesos the advantage. 2 versus 2 with the spike planted. They're gonna be playing from this elbow side.
2-shot darts to the recon dart for Marina. So potentially has lineups or just trying to hide within this smoke so they could get the best value here off a recon off the tap.
Marina had an incredible pistol so far with the shot bolt on the other side of the smoke heard. Melia step up. You heard the spike be tapped, and Mesos couldn't defend on the post plant. Bit of a dance. Yeah, the diffuse dance. Spike diffuse. Solstice taking pistol.
Yeah, interesting that Marina actually went for a preemptive recon dart too, just to try to make sure that she could bait out a couple of shots, but staying within the smoke after, instead of trying to draw the opponents against her, just to make sure she can play the off angle or give a chance at least for Animal to rotate around towards the A site to help out. And the crossfire setup was unfortunate. If anything, though, on what should have been a great sell of a fake at the beginning of the round here on that B site, you said Marceline just stayed back towards pawn shop, was able to get 2 kills on top of that, which allowed here Solstice to stay as a group and give themselves a chance here in a 2 versus 2 on a retake. But this is going to be a big gun round now for Solstice, and already with the gun round that they have, gets dropped by Elise.
Labra did their best. Got info though, at the very least. That's what your corpse is worth, I guess. So gonna walk in, recon at the back. Melia still gonna be playing on the site. They just believe in that solo mechanics, but hey, Mesos are not gonna test that. They're playing in B main after the plant. Now you just deal with the lurkers coming through mid. Scary Shark. Diffuse the site. With that kill coming through mid, Solstice have already started to retake the site. Melia can play at B main to catch him trying to cross into the smoke. Playing within, gets 2 kills despite being brought down to 11 HP. 1v2 for Sabubu and the right.
I guess we're doing
One
this.
and done, 3 HP. Running out of time, and the check on the spike is great for Teddy.
With a one-tap Guardian through his smoke to get the pick at 3 HP and save the round and allow Mesos Millionaires to get the thrifty in the round. That was very, very incredible. And how that happened. The double lurk you just saw here. The first pick come out of Animal, they would have never expected that you would still have Teddy coming in for a flank inside market. She's able to get value there on 2 kills, and look at that shot there on Sabubu. And that's the beauty as well of playing the Clove right now on both of these compositions, where you get to TDM and just really brute force your way into sight or to fight back. But at least when you're bringing your Clove as the spearhead to engage here on the retakes, their smokes are still going to be very efficient here to just smoke off the plant, smoke off the diffuser, and give still yourself a chance here in the post-mortem to do some assists and allow a full stick to potentially happen for Solstice. But that shot was nice. Nice protocol as well from Mesos, just to run through that smoke, just to make sure that they engage into a trade and play the numbers advantage in their favor to capitalize here on their 30 round. And that ties things up. That breaks the econ for Solstice. They have to rethink their thoughts now going into round number 3. It's back to at least not where what Ender was mentioned before, right? Remember those pistol rounds that you mentioned with Solstice that won both of those pistols on that first map, and they were able to string a couple of rounds with those. But this time around, it's instantly stopped here as they won another pistol to their name. But Meso had a nice entry from Elise here towards B main.
Yeah, I think if Solstice are going to try these dry peeks at B, I'd rather it be Marceline. If anything, that could maybe satchel back or can lead with a boom bot. Elaborate is dry peeking, and your Cypher being the one that falls first on a defense seems rough with how important their utility is to hold down that site. But hey, when you get gifted a first blood, of course the offense is just going to rush in. I like that Mesos are not wasting as much time. I don't think this map can be as slow and defaulty as mid-roundy as Ascent is, but see how this bonus will go with Mesos taking that last round.
Yeah, there's definitely still great opportunities here to work the map here on a map like Sunset, especially when a lot of these battles eventually, when you want to force out these orbs, when you're pulling in a gecko in your composition, when you're still holding raises in your comp, there are these moments rather, where you want to fight towards these orb controls towards the A site. And the job here of your lurk, your Cypher, or at least your players at the beginning, if you're going to default towards that side, is to make sure that you get the information, deny information, but also start working the map around, right? So you will start seeing a little bit more of like mid control, just to try to pull up some rotates. And getting control of middle to execute on splits are super nice on this map as well. But that's usually around with having like a breach in your composition or whatnot, or having a raise that could satchel across a lot of things with a couple of flashes that could help out too, right? And that's where the advantage that comes in from Solstice, where they're playing this double controller where they have this omen that they could actually paranoia into the market, into these splits, into these fast hits that the Rays would try to do to try to gain space rather. While as on the other end though, if you're looking at Mesos Millionaires, they're holding double initiator instead of double smokes, but you could still do some great combinations with both initiators to try to scan out your opponents literally, because you're playing with a Sova and a Dizzy on a Gecko, and try to capitalize on space from there. So the approach of the map is still fairly the same when you want to take control of a certain part. It's just the util you're going to utilize for both of these teams are going to be slightly different, and you'll see this approach here as we continue on, or once we have a chance to continue on the attack side of both of these teams.
It's cool to see just how much more popular Clove feels in Game Changers. I know we cast some challengers together, and we started seeing Clove pop up on Lotus, but for people like Melia, for people like Teddy, they bring Clove out on a ton of maps. So they're truly showing us that Clove isn't really a controller, but more of a duelist. Like, Teddy isn't afraid to sit in those smokes and to really go for it, especially just getting those 2 kills while they got brought down to 10 HP. It was a big risk that paid off and completely caught their opponents off guard.
Definitely. If you're looking at challengers, most of the teams right now, you just saw, I don't know if you've been following and you're going back and forth between streams chat, but Jakey just played it earlier on here over on the side of Lotus. So a lot of these players and challengers are using Clove on a map like Lotus, but you're definitely seeing here, as you mentioned, just to echo that point here, Lemon Kiwi, that you're seeing value of Clove into other maps. A map like Sunset right here is the same principle of just running through, trying to get a lot of combinations with metal and raise nades on the aggression you're trying to play, and also just using these smokes here to help out if you aren't able to do anything within the server anymore and get dropped. Then at least as a Clove, you could smoke in different spots to fight these back. So there you are starting to see a little bit of good value and more Clove coming through, and I think it's just a nice precursor of what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks here when patch 8.11 rolls into main competition for Game Changers, for challengers, and for the VCTs, where potentially this aggressive type of play style that you have with the Clove to add on to all of the buffs that you're seeing currently of a couple of these duelists, such as like an ISO or a Neon, most specifically, because a lot of the pros seem to be very fond of the changes that are positive here for Neon. I wouldn't be surprised here that you're going to start seeing like this Clove Neon composition to just run it down the way that we're currently seeing right here with just the Clove.
Reminder, this is Solstice's choice of map, but Mesos took a pretty important win against Teddy Tactics last time they came to Sunset, and it was even with a different roster. They were, I believe, playing with Angel, who's obviously subbed out for Marina, and I think that's why we're seeing that difference of no KO, but a Sova. Marina has played a lot of Sova. Out of all the things she's very flexible at, Sova's something her best initiator, so being able to adjust that is very good. I always forget that Nora is also Scary Shark, and they all have different names on VLR versus like in the game. But Mesos took a pretty important win with just how good their retakes were against Teddy Tactics and how they were able to close out in the end. So
yeah, definitely, and also to be on that point too, with the Sova coming in instead of a KO as just an ancient comp. Then the KO also, I mean, it still does some similar value, but maybe not at the same type of tempo that you want to on throwing these early recon dart versus the knives. So we're going to have to see how those are going to be played out towards the attack side, because if you're playing a KO in your map, or at least in your composition, you should be seeing some early KO knives to try to figure out where the defaulting would be happening or where the site setup would be here as you're playing the attack side. And the recon dart's not going to get the same type of value because it doesn't ping those players through the radius, so you don't know if there's going to be aggressive pushes outside of B main on the defense, playing behind the map, playing at the entrance of B. So the way that you're approaching now, how you're scaling towards these maps, are going to have to be a little bit more open, or unless you're trying to do these type of hits where Silva's quite nice on getting these recons into the window and trying to get more control and fast-paced control towards the A site. So the game plan could still be very similar. It's just potentially in different sites of the maps.
It was pretty fun to watch Solstice versus FlyQuest Red. That was one of the maps in the big upset that Solstice took on Monday. And then it was off of the Clove Gecko strat, but keeping that omen. We just saw how important it was to have them versus not have them on Ascent. And Solstice feeling very confident. If you can beat FlyQuest Red on this, it feels like you could beat most opponents on this. And Solstice were kind of that dark horse to watch in the bracket. So we're hopefully going to get this tech issue sorted out. I'm hearing it's a mouse issue and maybe something else. So for the moment, we're going to leave you with some content. See you soon.
I mean, just jumping into the fact that they're aiming like right with their shorty at first and then jumping into the smoke, I'd say it's probably higher rank. I'm gonna go with like either Ascendant or Immortal here. I'll go with Immortal on this one just for like, you know, I think they had good technique in going into that smoke and using the shorty in the smoke rather than a rifle, so I'll go with Immortal. I mean, it's a stinger clip, like, I think their first bullet was good. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say. I look at a stinger and I'm like, oh, anyone can use that gun. Dude, there's no way they have two clips where, like, someone does something good twice in a row, and, like, the other one could just be someone, like, doing something good while being bad at the game. So, like, I don't know, I'll go lower this time. I'll go with, like, Platinum. Platinum players have insane range.
Enemy spotted A.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got nothing to go on for that one. Like, yeah, they played really bad by going in that corner. You know, I think that it's really, like, you should know better than to play that corner with no one else with you. I don't know, like, let's just go with, they got cleared, so probably gold. I don't know.
No charges.
Okay, I mean, like, snappy. Like, we're moving our crosshair, I like it. I mean, like, the aim was good on the first shot, the second shot, they were, like, snappy. I mean, like, sorry. You know, I liked swinging out of the smoke there. Like, I don't know, that was good. I'd say, like, maybe Ascendant, let's go with Ascendant. Like, I think that's an Ascendant play. I mean, the first two shots were nice. The third one, we're crouch spraying at 30 meters? I don't know about that. But the first two shots were nice. I mean, it kind of looks like me, so, you know. They've got to be Immortal, right? Like, I don't know. My problem is I look at these clips and I'm like, yeah, I could see myself doing everything. Like, all of these, like, you make a bad play and you're like, yeah, I could do that. It's more about the players around them. And, like, the problem is I don't get a good enough, like, gauge of what the players around them are doing. Yeah, they're all from the same person, I assume.
They are indeed all from the same person, yeah.
Yeah, I figured that out.
That's the catch, yeah.
I figured they were all from the same person, and I just, like, was like, I'm not gonna say anything because the name is blurred.
Yeah, this is all 10s clips, by the way.
Some of them are awful.
I was taught to hustle through the pain. My body and soul, without each what will I gain? So many try to use me when I help pave the way. But man, that's just life, there ain't really much to say. I'm the one, I know I'm the one, everybody follow me. The one they all trying to beat, I know that I gotta be. I've been training hard, I'm ready for any rivalry. I lost it all but kept the fight in me. Now look, I've been laying low, but speak on me and I'ma show up. My squad full of bosses can't let
into the game. 1-1. Y'all ain't missing nothing. If anything, we're paying attention. We got some action. And look at all this action. Solstice heavy pushing up mid. Okay, it works out. At least we'll get the trade. So Melia's kind of stuck. Hey, but Elaborate, the best friend ever. And both of them pick up the kills. So Solstice brought this down to a 2v2. Melia is still out in the open. No signs of escaping. So Sabubu heading around the corner and has the lineup. Solstice will take the round after the pause.
Big round for Solstice, just to answer back when Mesos Millionaires had their thrifty. Solstice is answering one of their own. I just love it. Well, yes, we had a small tech issue with the mouse, and I love that during the pause, it was a little bit longer. So what do you do now coming out of it? Everybody's cooled down. Mesos Millionaires probably hyped up after getting their own thrifty, so you see it from Solstice. They just tried to walk back down towards middle with their shares and capitalize on those kills, and Sabuba getting a nice 2K spray towards the end with the Vandal that she picked up. Now allowing here the economy to bounce back in the favor of Solstice. Round number 4, Hunter's Fear available for the attack on our hero rifle from Mesos Millionaires. As we talked about these maps here on this map of Sunset, definitely some defaulting, some slower rounds will occur, especially in Mesos Millionaires. I'd love to play a little bit more slower to probe the map around their favor. And they're looking to pop potentially outside of this close mode to take control of middle after faking this Aldrone inside market.
Teddy will throw out the molly and behind the Gecko flash. They get caught by the paranoia of Scary Shark. Great reaction out of this defense. As Meso tried to explore the map, they'll decide to just swing into B. They go 1 for 1. There's still that Cypher at the back. Elaborate just needs the corpse, and they can use the neural left to help reinvigorate this retake. Got Scary Shark in mid, and then Elaborate and Sabubu working together, but Mesos didn't even plan. Looks like they're gonna roundabout and ignore the objective, which is really rough. Marina is left all by themselves, and Solstice will take back-to-back rounds.
Understandable too. You had an opportunity here where you thought you had to read to get back behind enemy lines, and also give an opportunity for Animal to pick up a rifle so they can have 2 guns in their favor to try to fight back. And if they had read that correctly and they played that correctly in the end, somehow slipped back towards the A site for a plant, while everybody from Solstice was still converging rather towards his B side, you still had this Hunter's Fury to work with. So I like the game plan through there. Playing contact, trying to catch your opponents off guard, but Solstice, 1 step ahead, knew that they had to watch the flank, and that player on the staircase did what they needed to do. And now as we're getting closer is what we're talking about here. 1 orb away for so many players. Here's that fight for the A site orb.
Crossfire, they're not even gonna smoke off and really know how to pressure that well, so are caught, and they lose Nanda in that process. They traded with Sabubu too. He's still committed to push through the A elbow. Scary Shark holds the cross and can now try to stop the showstopper, but Elise flooding in, cleared the site, throw it out into a link. Scary Shark on the other side of the smoke. The timing's a bit off, and as soon as they came out, they still caught Marina. Against the world, it feels like. Melia in a 1v1 now, and gets both for the Red Bull clutch.
No way that Melia just did that. Coming out of the ult, and labored shots that did not connect for Mesos Millionaires, and she takes the advantage to pop both of the heads of the last 2 players. And I love how we started here for Mesos Millionaires, having the Clove to move up first, trying to play the contact, baiting the shots, knowing that there's a crossfire setup, allows for everybody else to really push forward and activate a showstopper off a trade. But somehow the spike was on the back of the raise from Elise, where she didn't have an opportunity to get more space after the showstopper, and that really floored the plans here. Mesos Millionaires trying to get set up here on the post plan. Elise, they didn't go for a plant. They tried to go for trades, but it's Solstice clutching it on a 1 versus 2 towards the end from Melia. We know how good she could be here on this agent, on this very map as well. When they've repeated similar things against FlyQuest, with the amount of aggression they were bowling out here on this Clove agent, this brings so much value once again for Solstice. 4-1 as Mesos Millionaires on a broken bind trying to contact inside this A site.
Solstice were watching mid because they thought that Mesos with mid control were gonna push on through, but Mesos had the fake and have already wrapped into A elbow and are pushing the top of the site.
God.
Teddy gets the one and fades back into the smoke. And Solstice only now get the punish, but Teddy has friends. And the firepower from Mesos with the Hunter's Fury behind them. Marina pressures back Solstice with 2 members left for the retake. No paranoia. Melia, at least the molly, but Scary Shark's outlaw is dangerous. Swapping on to enemy brawling gun, but Melia just plays off of Scary Shark's contact so well. Solstice get the defuse, and this momentum seems so tough to stop.
It ended up being a good way to start though for Mesos Millionaires. Just a preemptive shot coming out from, I think that was Teddy towards the spawn if not mistaken, to get that first pick. And then allowing these weapons to get picked up here. And that Hunter's Fury was great for them to gain space. But what's after that happened there from Mesos Millionaires? When they tried to play outside of the site, remember, you're playing against a Clove. One easy smoke being placed out towards the elbow just separated the crossfire setup and kind of left Animal out stranded towards the A site. Nothing they could really do, rather. For Mesos to help out. Couldn't get the trade, and unfortunately loses their fights towards the end when they had the lesser weapons.
Wow, just a pick from Scary Shark with someone mid. Mesos are still gonna kick down this door and get into the B site. Melia! These multi-kills, she is insane today. It's Scary Shark, the duo that holds down B, that dwindles Meso down to just Amanda, at least with the spike. And not really much else to play off of. You know, someone's close based on the shots that Scary Shark brought out. Now drawing fire their way. Amanda can't pull off the 1v3.
Yeah, unfortunately there, you wanted to land that shot and win it against Marceline. Give yourself any type of chance, but as soon as you missed the first set of shots and you give your position away, and you saw that at least on the guaranteed trade that came out from Solstice, high and low on the top and bottom of the staircase, just in case if Marceline fell down. But look at these fights. I mean, there's still great utility that's being used on the attack to try to take control here of towards market. But because you don't have this KO to help out the way that you wanted to, the planned initially here for Mesos Millionaires, there's only that nade or maybe a dizzy coming through, but everybody still has great peripheral vision for Solstice to just lock down and prevent the hit from happening towards this market side. You missed a little bit of util on the B main potentially, just to make sure that you could pinch towards the rest. But this definitely is a timeout that's necessary for Mesos Millionaires to not let this slip. It's back to the same storyline that we saw previously, though, on the first map, right? When they won piss round for Solstice, they string a lot of rounds, but this time it's answering back with their own thrifty to swing these rounds. Sorry, all these canned spray paints is throwing me off. This is also an LA map, so it's just nice. The dad in me is chuckling me.
Well, I'm at the pace that Mesos Millionaires are playing, it feels like they could really use a second flash, like that KO, like a breach, something to help, I don't know, give them a better advantage in these gunfights, because that's what's hurting Mesos, is not winning these duels once they go fast and loud into the site. Having a Sova instead of that KO or breach is the difference between this match and the last time they played. So how will they adjust to get max potential and value out of this Sova? So Mesos will continue to smoke up the top of mid. There may be a crack in that cage. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, Mesos have mid control. They've gotten this every time, but how do they make their job easier on B?
I mean, both players trying to fight towards the A side, both at low HP, being Animal and Scary Shark. And it's just going to be a death match, unfortunately, but it's a death ball instead.
One enemy
Oh,
remaining.
Mesos just couldn't
Spike
cross
down,
fast
B.
enough and push someone up into that market into Boba. Mesos just have one plan, one vision. That vision's going black. We're 7-1 now for Solstice.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't expect here a showstopper that was available here, and they couldn't really identify where that raise was being positioned. Because again, it was just a great job by Scary Shark at the very beginning to hold back Animal, to not allow Animal to get too much value of getting information towards the A site. And as you fall back and fall down to 1 HP, you're seeing that pressure that you maybe can't lurk as well. So you want to group up with the rest of the team. You can't really pull any players to your side. You couldn't pull any opponents onto your side as well. So it just allowed here for Solstice to have a continuous stronghold on this map of Sunset. 2-1-2 this time, as you can see the defensive hold for Solstice. And for Meso, they're at least trying to aggress a little bit quicker than the other rounds.
Oh, the lineup! They're just in front of each other like a caterpillar. Marceline makes it look easy with the 3K. Holding the crosshair. Mesos. You think the util would be able to overwhelm Marceline? They're pushing 4 people into A elbow, and Marceline barely lost any health.
And that's
all thrash.
The main thing, right? They're peeking 1 by 1. Easy kills for Marceline.
Yeah, okay, Teddy makes up for it, but now you got neural theft from Animal to try and turn this round around, especially with the deficit that Mesos is facing. Knowing they're coming from mid and the overheal, Teddy. Actually, that overheal might be gone. Teddy plays the off angle. Elaborate swings next, and Teddy has the ult. 1v1 against Elaborate with the pre-fire, but the wall bank too. Teddy just waited too long. Now the counter neural theft. Elaborate in the 1v1 through the cage, waiting for that other ping, realizing Animal has escaped. Spike still playing, more than enough time for Elaborate to handle this with love and care.
So has a
through
cage too.
the smoke. We'll try to get this halfway. This Animal thought the spike was tapped. It's actually going to be held. Animal thinks that they're going to come out of the smoke, and I guess Solstice gets the defuse.
Oh my god, it was so nice once again. They're getting so close every single time here for Mesos Millionaires to close out the rounds, but you have these heroic plays and a pesky Clove that's throwing a smoke towards the end that double smokes the defuse here on that 1v1. But I love here the reposition from Teddy on that 2 versus 2. When the hat from Animal is thrown out, it pinged down the last 2 players. She readjusts towards the bottom of the ramp and isolates 2 fights. But unfortunately, Elaborate still had their own hat here after taking down the Clove and gave him a chance here to capitalize on that one. But here's fast satchels from Elise. Inside the A site, there's that recon dart we're talking about here from the Silva to help out. But they're not having the best results here in these post plans, especially trying to engage inside the sites too. Losing too many players in process now for Mesos Millionaires.
Aldrum pinging 1 on the site. Hearing the Gecko Molly. Hearing the boombot from Marceline. There's a little too many cooks in this kitchen. I'm Mesos Millionaires. Having to re-clear mid. Like that the Cypher trips have changed up for Elaborate, knowing Mesos like mid so much. Setting it up at the top of mid. Get some heads up. Helia gonna try and buy some time and play as safe as they can, shooting through the smoke. Mesos keep damage from that. And they go in and swing again, allowing Solstice to re-swing and have a heads up where Mesos are coming from. And this is a real tough hit for Mesos, trying to draw Solstice away from A. The plant will ensue after that pick from Marina, from the shadows from Scary Shark to get to this defense in time. Hit the op and holding down A-Link with it. Showstopper being the last one standing with the classic through the smoke. The timing doesn't favor Mesos, but this defense surely favors Solstice.
Yeah, if anything, if I were to pull another timeout or something, hoping something that was being talked about during this timeout for Mesos Millionaires is to go back to ironing out those fundamentals of being able to swing out here as a group. Like that, getting caught with util with the women coming out, not expecting where the players could be. And under heavy attack, when there's already the metal being thrown on the top and middle and there's sprays coming through, you have to expect that there's got to be some players there, and you got to be ready here with guns out to be able to instantly trade. They haven't been doing so great so far. on taking that map control past that. I usually say the line of scrimmage, right? They can't really cross it. This time they cross it for a bit into the unknown, into the uncharted territory. But unfortunately, not with the right weaponry. They're paying the price. At least hoping to salvage something here.
Into the unknown, almost started singing. Scary Shark. Gotta sing their praises. Got flashed by Manda, but they're in a safe position on the other side of that pillar. And this off is gonna prevent any kind of, well, the race is dead, but if anyone else were to push through, the op has time. The Scary Shark can also teleport away. Mesos are smoked off, and their options are dwindling. At least they have a lurk from Animal over at the A side, depending on how this 1v... Well, it's not a 1v1 with your back turned, I guess.
Nope.
So, that option is dead too.
And that's the thing. Whenever Scary Shark started peeking out and got the first peek, you saw the aggression coming through from Amanda, just trying to go for that second wide swing by herself and just trying to fight the op. Now we're trying to walk outside of the smoke, getting off down. This is just free pop shots coming out from Scary Shark.
The jumping with the shotgun always makes me want to kick my feet. And the one though, there's something getting kicked all right. Mesos, they got to really shake off these rounds that they couldn't convert. That felt winnable. It's, of course, there's always a mastery because it was series point for Mesos Millionaires, but this is not the same Mesos Millionaires that we saw in previous series. Not using util to their highest potential, sometimes not using util at all, and just continuing to flood into an op is... They don't give themselves the best of situations to play into.
Yeah. I think I'd like to see some basic stuff too, just drone out towards main if nothing's really working right. Go back to even step one of approaching your composition with what you have in store, because, I mean... Well, hold that thought though. There's an attempt here to hit towards this B site with the Hunter's Fury.
Anything that caged helped Elise just have one angle to focus on, which was market Mesos at least surging together. Showstopper from behind, Marceline with two. Just when Mesos thought they had their bases covered, they forgot about home plate. Mesos brought down to just Teddy, who's had heroic performances before in a 1v4. This is just impossible. Solstice are on a tear that just cannot be stopped.
Yeah. Here's my silver lining at least though, right? Because you're giving a lot of pressure to Marina being a sub into Mrs. Millionaires on such a difficult map where the game plan potentially even revolves a lot around the KO. Trying to get Knives to cancel out a couple of the Cypher utility if it's not going to be main utility coming through, or just trying to figure out where the op could be by throwing the Knives, or trying to get a KO molly into the trips or into the staircase, an extra piece of util to push some players out. And then you're trying to approach that same type of play style, but you can't because the agent in itself approaches the map differently. As I mentioned before, the recon dart versus a knife may still scan some players, but in a different way. The shock darts have to bounce in a different way to get the best value as well. And it just, you're starting to see a little bit that just a plug and play and changing the agent rather than just a role. It's not going to be as easy to just maximize that composition, and hopefully they'll get something here on the defensive side, because now they have an opportunity to let Solstice come towards them.
Oh boy. Solstice taking their time with this one, trying to see if they can play off contact from usually the Cypher that would hold B. The smoke's in place. You think you'd be panicked, but it's first blood for Solstice. Catching someone at the top of mid, and look at this coordination. Solstice very clinical in this offense to clear out mid, to come from market, to kill the sentinel, and then plant. That's textbook sunset play from Solstice, at least in the 1v3. Okay, not too bad with the sheriff, but their location is known, and match point for Solstice.
One more to go here for Solstice, and definitely looked like it was going to be a much closer game when Mesos Millionaires were able to thrifty on that second round with a nice entry that came out from Elise from a sheriff into B main. But everything since then has been the story of Solstice, full control of where they want to push, where they want to hold, and just not allowing for Mesos Millionaires to get any type of footing or any type of opportunity to close out the series. We at this point and at this rate, definitely should be seeing a Breeze coming up. Unless I just did the biggest caster curse in the history of Game Changers. But I don't think it's going to be the case here. Solstice, understanding that they're almost at this victory, going to press the middle towards the A site.
Oh, with the wingman, like, Solstice are just showing how util should be, how to clear that space, and how to work the map as a team. And then Teddy, I guess, just gets a 3K as they enter. So, never mind what I just said.
I think it was a 3K with one clip of a stinger too.
Yeah, what the heck?
That usually does not happen to my sting. We saw that feature earlier on that anybody could do crazy stuff with the stinger, but I never usually see it on a 3-player spray. So that keeps the dream alive, at least for Mesos Millionaires, as they went for that full stinger buy, allowing themselves to upgrade into 3 Vandals this time around with small shields. So hopefully these Sheriffs could do some good damage, and it's in the right hands. In the hands of Scary Shark and Melia, the ones that have been carrying around the frag department for Solstice, waiting to swing it off the trip.
One enemy remaining.
Wow. Great reaction from Mesos when you tap the orb. Full team swing from Solstice, and then Mesos stand and deliver. So 2 rounds in a row, and I don't know. I think you're getting fired if this is some kind of caster curse.
No, if anything, I'm getting hired. If it's okay, I'll have a career with Solstice. Or with Mesos Millionaires, right? Because I'll have blessed them. I'll have blessed them. But what would it fire me if I do a bad call? You know? It's not for Riot if you see a comeback for Mesos Millionaires. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to get me fired?
You know.
All right, we got an off-out though for Elise. They're going to try to take control at least of the A main side once again, getting potentially even closer to these ults. Marina's already going to pick it up here. 1 away from Hunter's Fury, and he can already start moving all those players, shifting them towards the B side because the angle's already being watched here from the operator. So they tempo back. The camera's watching mid, but now all that util's gone after Marceline just got that pick onto Animal.
No one's watching the opening. A little bit too dependent on the trips, and as soon as Mesos pick B main, guess what? There's like 5 people with lineups. So Solstice got a free first blood out of that. Great smokes in Market and the top here in Boba. Melia not afraid to cross in and pass that smoke to end it in favor of Solstice. 13-3.
That's exactly it, right? Those moments that Solstice were known for, especially when they got that victory, against FlyQuest just earlier this week, was the amount of pushes that they're able to do towards that spawn off these post plants, catching their player off guard, and not allowing here the flood retakes to happen. So this definitely looks like a much better drilled Solstice compared to what we saw here on the first map. And I'm looking forward now to see what's going to happen on Breeze.
Our deciding map of Breeze is coming up. The winner stays alive in Game Changers main event. The loser stays home. But we first got to consult with the desk, so we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wanna live like me? Well, here's the contract you ain't know of. I signed up to grind. I signed up to be the best, man. Chin up when I hustle. I can't focus on the next, man. They said that I gotta work. I said, oh yeah, I'm on it. Cause when it's said and done, we gon' see who really want it.